I feel the Spirit moving in me. I feel the Spirit moving in me.
Well, some of you were here, and some of you attended my workshop I did last Sunday on a book I'm writing titled A Season for the Soul. And I was leading this workshop last week, and I had an agenda that I created, and I decided in the moment to do something that I wouldn't ordinarily do, but I decided to offer the meditation to someone in the group. And I just asked, would anybody like to do the meditation? And one person raised her hand, and she said, yeah, I'd love to do the meditation. And I said, great. So look, on the sheet that I gave everybody, it was kind of an agenda and set the tone. I said, look at there and look at the idea that I gave on how I want the meditation to be given. I had a specific point that I wanted to make in the meditation, right? And the person said, looked at it, and she says, I don't want to do it that way. And I'm like, all of a sudden, right? My neck froze up, my chest froze up. I could feel this. I could feel my head expanding, right? Because I worked for hours on this, and I had a certain idea with doing the meditation just the way that I planned it. And so I took a breath. I realized I was arming up, right? I was putting on my armor. And I thought, just let it go. So I let it go, and I said, fine, you lead the meditation how you like. So she invited us all to be in the silence. And then she led this really nice meditation. And at one point, she said, imagine that you're hearing a voice. It's like spirit or your heart is whispering to you. What does it say? What does that voice say to you? And I heard, things don't have to go exactly like you want. And I'm like, oh, heck. Right? But I knew it instantly. It was like, boom, a shot to my heart. And I knew it was true. And that I could let it go. I could let go of my resistance. And after the meditation was over, I said, I have to share with you my experience and what happened to me in that meditation. And the fact that as soon as I was able to let go, I could be present, right? And it's something amazing happened in the group. It's like my vulnerability gave everybody in the group the opportunity to be vulnerable as well, right? So it lifted the consciousness in the small group that we're having immediately. And people commented throughout the group that we're doing how they were touched, how they felt connected, how they were able to share their vulnerability. And it lifted the consciousness of the work that we were doing. Wow, I let go of my resistance and I opened my heart. So, question for you. What if your strength doesn't come from being right? Or what if it doesn't come from being in control? What if it doesn't come from being perfectly composed? But what if your strength comes from being real, being present, being vulnerable, being honest, being present? What if the soft places within you, the tender, the wobbly, the exposed, all those parts are not something to be hidden? Wouldn't you love to see the wobbly parts in others? Imagine sharing them yourself and being present and being honest. So this talk is titled Fierce Vulnerability, the Strength in Being Soft. We don't always find those words, fierce and vulnerability, in the same sentence. Therefore, I thought it was a great talk for today, especially in light of, this is the second or third, I can't remember, talk in this series that I'm calling Eye of the Storm. And I don't know if you've noticed, maybe you have, that there's a lot of strange things happening in our country. There's a lot of bizarre things happening in our world. So the idea of this series is about how can we be in the eye of the storm, in the midst of everything that's going on in our lives. How can we be in that eye of calm and peace? So my intention is to offer you 5 talks on how we can do that. Fierce vulnerability means standing strong enough to be seen, brave enough to feel, and grounded enough not to need to be in control when it seems like everything is unfolding. It's the power of presence. It's the power of strength. It's the power of surrender and the courage to love anyway. There's some nice examples of this. You might remember Jesus at Lazarus' tomb. Remember, he stood outside Lazarus' tomb and he wept. This wasn't a new idea, but it was a powerful moment for Jesus, whom were surrounded by followers, to be able to show that vulnerability and that ability to be conscious and vulnerable in that moment. He didn't hide his heartache. He stood in it. He stood in it fully human, fully divine. His tears were not tears of weakness. They were tears of strength. They were a bridge of compassion. Or consider perhaps the bodhisattvas in the Buddhist tradition who remain in the world of suffering. Not because they're invincible, but because their hearts are wide open. They lead with compassion, not control. And in our own time, you might remember Myrtle Fillmore. Anybody know who Myrtle Fillmore is? Right? She was the co-founder of Unity. And she practiced fierce vulnerability when she affirmed health and wholeness for her body when it didn't appear like that was true. Even when she struggled. She wasn't pretending everything was perfect, but she was affirming the truth beyond appearance. Fierce vulnerability is the thread running through all of these lives. It's the willingness to love in a world that sometimes seems to forget how. It's the choice to remain open, to remain kind, to remain soft, even when we're tempted to be hard. It's not weakness. It's divine. It's divine strength shining through our human hearts. So let's be honest, we live in a culture and in a time that teaches a very different model. Many of us who grew up with people who taught us to be tough, don't cry. I remember being told, be a man, right? Don't let them see you sweat. And if you don't have it all together, what do? Fake it till you make it, right? But friends, that's not real strength. That's armor. That's a costume we wear because we're afraid of what might happen if people see who we really are. Why are we so afraid of that? We've been so conditioned about powering through, being taught that strength is the ability to be powerful and stand up to those people who oppose us, instead of being open, to being loving, to keep trusting even when things are messy and unpredictable. Think about the people that you admire. Are they the ones who never let down their guard? Are they the ones that seem untouchable? Are they the ones who let you see their heart? Who let you feel their humanity? Who have the courage to say, I'm hurting, or I don't know, or I'm still learning? I discovered recently Reverend Clementa Pinckney, who was a remarkable and deeply respected spiritual leader. He was a public servant, an advocate for justice. He was the senior pastor of Mother Emanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina, and also served as a South Carolina state senator. And he was known for his commanding presence, yet compassion. He was often described as a gentle giant whose voice carried grace and power. Pinckney was committed to civil rights, community upliftment, and bridging divides between divinity and love. He began preaching at 13 and became ordained at 18. A testament, I think, to the essence of his spiritual growth and truth. You might remember his life was tragically cut short in 2015 at a shooting at his church while he and a group of people were in a prayer meeting. And what made his legacy so powerful was that he lived his life in fierce vulnerability, leading with strength and tenderness, speaking truth to power while embodying deep compassion. Another powerful example of fierce vulnerability was Barack Obama. His example played out in front of the world in 2015. President Barack Obama delivered the eulogy for Reverend Clementa Pinckney. And as he stood before a grieving crowd, he paused and he began to sing Amazing Grace. Not as a performance, not as a politician, but as a human being, open-hearted, vulnerable, breaking through the walls of protocol. And that moment touched millions. Not because it was perfect, but because it was real. It was strength wrapped in softness. Leadership rooted in soul. And here's part of that song. I need your help on the soundboard. I'll go back. Sorry, I forgot to tell you guys I had a video to show today. All right, let's try it.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
When we choose fierce vulnerability, we don't just change our own lives. We create a ripple of authenticity that touches everyone around us. The world doesn't need more polished, perfect people. The world needs more real people. People who are strong enough to be soft, brave enough to be vulnerable, grounded enough to stay open. When we choose fierce vulnerability, we don't just change our own lives. We create a ripple of authenticity that touches everyone around us. So, how do we practice fierce vulnerability? How do we move from understanding in theory to living it in real time? We need to go with the flow. Oh, by the way, I have an acronym for that. The F in flow stands for feel what you are feeling. The L stands for let go of resistance. The O stands for open to what your heart is saying. And the W stands for welcome the next gentle step. So let's take those one at a time. The F in flow stands for feel what you are feeling. Check in with yourself. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now?
Be patient, honest without judgment. Maybe it's sadness that you're feeling. Maybe it's anger. Maybe it's just plain tired. Let whatever it is surface. And here's the key. Pause when you notice yourself armoring up, right? When you find yourself getting defensive, or you're clenching your jaw, you're shutting down, or crossing your arms over your heart, or even trying to appear more together than you really feel. Just noticing that this is happening is a sacred act. You know, it's okay. But when we notice it, we want to softly name it and go, oh, I'm tightening up. Oh, I'm getting angry. Oh, I'm feeling frustrated. The pause allows us to feel what's real without covering up. In chaotic times, maybe like what we're in right now, it's important to feel what's real without covering up. You know, it's tempting to grow numb. It's tempting to go on YouTube and scroll endlessly. But feeling real doesn't mean getting lost in the news. It means tuning into your inner response, setting boundaries, deciding, when you've had enough, when you're feeling scared perhaps, or angry, or overwhelmed. And the idea really is to feel what you're feeling, and instead of judging those feelings, just bring them to light and go, oh, I see what I'm feeling. What part of me needs compassion right now? And the L in flow stands for let go of resistance, right? Instead of tightening up or shutting down when things get tense, it's really about breathing into the moment and to say, it's okay to feel this. I don't need to fix it right now. And we can breathe in and let our shoulders drop, let our breath soften. And to realize that, that we don't need to control the storm. What we need to do is stay rooted in the eye of it, Resistance often shows up trying to control the uncontrollable, grasping at answers, or obsessing over headlines. Looking at all the what ifs, what if this and what if that. Instead, we just breathe. We let go, not because the world is fine necessarily, but because we choose peace over panic. Right? We can affirm, I can be at peace even when the world is not. Say that with me. I can be at peace even when the world is not. The O in flow stands for open to what your heart is saying. Right? This is all about self-awareness, really, right? We want to ask our inner wisdom, what is this feeling that I'm having trying to teach me? Maybe it's whispering, slow down. Maybe it's shouting, speak up. But we want to be curious. We want to be gentle. In the noise of what feels like a fearful world, the heart speaks in whispers. Maybe it's saying, stand for truth. Maybe it's saying, rest today. Or even it could be saying, hey, call your friend and pray. Perhaps it says, you don't have to control everything. Your heart may not solve global issues, but it will guide you towards wise action that keeps your soul intact. Your heart knows what is yours to carry and what is not.
So the W stands for welcome the next gentle step, with emphasis on welcome and being gentle. Don't rush to solve everything. Just welcome one small act of truth, one small understanding of peace. Speak your truth gently, honestly, and with kindness. Maybe it's to say, this situation really bothers me. Or I feel scared. Or I'd like to try this again. Or I'm sorry. Or this is what I can do. Being in that place of peace, to stand up. What is the act of service that I can perform today? What is the word of hope that I can share? What is the vulnerability that I can be? Each of these practices helps us to stay rooted in our heart. And that's the key. That's where the peace is. That's where the eye of the storm is. Fierce vulnerability isn't something that we can necessarily perfect. It's something we practice moment by moment by moment. So today, I invite you to take a small step. When you feel yourself armoring up and want to withdraw from a situation, want to toughen yourself against the world, take a breath. Choose fierce vulnerability. Because every act of vulnerability is an act of courage. Every time you choose to stay open when it's easier to close, you are lighting a candle in the world that sometimes feels dark. Let's be the ones who are open. Let's be the ones who lead with love. Let's be the ones who are strong enough to be soft. And let's say the affirmation one more time together. I am strong enough to be soft. I am brave enough to be real. I am love in the eye of the storm. And I want to close today with a blessing that I wrote for you. May you walk through the world. May you walk through this world with an open heart. May your softness be your strength, your vulnerability, your power. May you remember that you are never alone. For every act of courage echoes across the world. Go forth today, clothed in love, rooted in spirit, fierce and tender, bold and gentle. And so it is. I invite you to close your eyes and just take a moment to breathe. Breathing in and breathing out. Feel the energy of love that is present right here, right now. Moving in and through and as you. Breathing in. Seeing yourself in the world. Imagine yourself tomorrow or next week. Feeling what you are feeling. Honest, vulnerable, truthful. Imagine yourself in the eye of the storm as an amazing, beautiful energy of love and light, peace. Letting go of resistance so that you can stand in your truth, so that you can open your heart and listen to your heart. Listen to spirit, that small voice that speaks of love to you. As you imagine yourself standing in the eye of the storm, gently, lovingly moving forward, experiencing your truth. The truth of the infinite is offering you a truth of peace, of joy, of light. Imagine as you stand in the eye of the storm that the winds are howling around you. The clouds are swirling, but you stand firm, rooted in peace. Your heart is open. Your spirit is steady. You are safe. You are strong. You are soft. You trust your softness. You trust your heart. You are the calm when it seems like everything is falling apart. Breathing in and breathing out. I invite you to begin to bring your awareness back to this moment. And to open your eyes when you're ready. And I invite our musicians to come up and sing the peace song. So for ourselves, for this ministry, for Maui and Hawaii, for our country and the world, let's affirm together the prayer for protection, which begins, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us wherever we are. God is. Thank you for being here today. God bless you.
Where I